What's going on, guys? John Runs 26.2 here, and today I'm going to be reviewing for you the Saucony Kinvara 9s. So, this is the Saucony Kinvara 9. Quick breakdown of the shoe. It is a 4mm drop neutral shoe. So, for those of you who like to have stability in your shoes, this is not the shoe for you. I do not believe that stability is required if you can make the necessary changes to your form, but that is for a different video. Like I said, 4mm drop, neutral shoe. That 4mm drop, however, is self-reported by the Saucony website. By Runner's World, a third-party website, they claim this to be a 6mm heel drop. It gets a little chunky and it kind of looks like it in there, but it does not feel like a 6mm drop. It hardly feels like 4, if we're being honest here. I've loved Saucony for a long time. I had the 9, I also had the 8, and also the 5 twice. I love these shoes. Really cool note, those of you running fans out there, this one has been signed by Mad Keflezighi. He signed it 2 times. There's one right there too. I think he was kind of weirded out by me bringing my really beat up old smelly running shoe for him to sign, but that's all I had. So this will forever be my favorite shoe. Forever. So as far as weight goes, the Saucony Kinvara 9 comes in at 8.5 ounces, and that's at my shoe size 11.5. So obviously if you're bigger or smaller, that weight varies, but 8.5 ounces is pretty light. To compare it to the Kinvara 8s, the 8s are 8.8 ounces. The Kinvara 8s are 8.8 ounces. Got that? They actually shaved off 0.3 of an ounce. Props to you, Saucony. I love light shoes, and the lighter the better, as long as you're not sacrificing things, which they did not. To put that in perspective, this Saucony Kinvara 8 compared to this Brooks Adrenaline GTS 18. I don't usually wear these shoes. It's more of a stability shoe. It's a heftier shoe. It's a shoe that I used for walking because it's so comfortable. This shoe comes in at 12.8 ounces. 4 ounces heavier than this guy. This guy is 0.3 ounces heavier than this guy. So, a lot of numbers going on and very boring stuff. Let's get into it. Starting with the bottom, the soles of the shoe. I did clean up the sides. It would just look nice for the video. It's nice and white, but I promise I've been running in it. I'm at about 100 miles on this shoe right now, which is why I want to do this review. I feel like I've been running in it long enough to give an accurate review. As you can see, compared to the Saucony Kinvara 8, they did change a little bit on the bottom of the shoe. They took out this rubber from the 8s, and it is no longer in the 9s, and instead they added it right up here on the 9s, which is not there on the 8s. And as you can see on my Kinvara 8, I land right there, and I feel like a lot of runners land right in that spot. So having that little piece of rubber, it doesn't look like much, but it does make a difference traction wise. As far as the overall traction, this is a shoe specialized for road running. I would not recommend it in wet conditions like wet grass. It's not good. Trail running, don't even think about it. You are out of your mind. This is a road shoe. It's light, it is soft, and it is great at running on the road. Don't take it on the trail, please. You might die. It has a lot of exposed EVA foam. It doesn't really wear down like you think it would though. Like when I see this shoe, I get very paranoid that if I like hit a rock or something, it'll scrape out a chunk of that foam, but this foam is actually pretty durable, and I like it. That is a awkward segue into the next topic, durability. Like I said, I am 100 miles into this shoe right now. It's holding up fairly well. The purpose of this shoe is to be a light training shoe. I'm comfortable running in this shoe in races as fast as 5Ks. And I take it with me on my speed workouts on the track. It's very light and responsive. More responsive than the Kinvara 8s, which were a little more plush and comfortable. This is a little more responsive and a little stiffer. It seems to be a little more built for speed. Durability wise, I've got to 100 miles. It is not showing a whole lot of wear, but as I said before, it is a light shoe. There's not a lot to this shoe, so I'm expecting it to last around 300 miles. As a daily trainer, I don't know that it can handle the beating of those mid to long runs on a daily basis. For those types of runs, I usually like to pick a little bit heftier of a shoe. It can make it a marathon. I've ran my 20-mile training runs in this shoe and it's done just fine. So it can make it, but because it can make it doesn't mean that it should be traveling those distances all the time. Of course, this depends on your foot strike, how heavy you are on your feet. I try to stay light on my feet, and it can make it that distance for me, but on a daily basis the shoe will wear out fast on you. If you're putting in 50-mile weeks, 100-mile weeks, this is a good complementary shoe for those faster runs, but it cannot be a go-to shoe for that volume of mileage. It has mostly EVA foam. It does have, if you can still read that, Ever Run, which is right underneath this sock liner. It has a thin layer of Everrun, which is Saucony's premium cushioning. In fact, they do have the Freedom ISO that they made that is made completely all the way through of Everrun. And I don't know how much you can tell by this, but it is like, it has more of like a bouncy ball feeling. And though I love these shoes, the fact that the base is made completely of Everrun seems kind of like overkill. It's not as comfortable, not as plush. I do think having just that like layer right at the sock liner, right under the sock liner, is perfect for this shoe. Moving on to the upper part, the fit. I love the fit of this shoe. The Saucony Kinvara 5s were my favorite shoe. The fit of that shoe was better than any fit of any shoe that I've ever worn. I didn't wear the 6s or the 7s, but the 8s seemed to be getting a little loose and it felt almost sloppy to me. The 9 cleans it up. This top portion, the mesh, it seems a little bit more stretchy, and they did narrow this mid-foot to heel area, so you're not getting any heel slipping here. They've also added a lot more reinforcements here in the heel. You can feel the physical heel cup, where in the 8s it kind of squishes in. There's not much there. I didn't get heel slipping in this one, but it just feels a lot more snug here, a lot more solid in the 9s, which was one of their criticisms. I like the more snug fit. I don't like the more loose, free feeling. To me, it feels sloppy. That's personal preference. This is a little closer fit to the Kinvara 5s, which were my favorites. One thing that I think is unnecessary is this Pro Lock that they have. If you can see it right here, the laces go through it, and these run all the way down to the base of the shoe on both sides. The midfoot is already very snug, and I think that the Pro Lock is kind of overkill. I don't have a problem with it. I did have a problem with that in the 5s because it was a little rigid. This one feels a little more flexible. I just think it's kind of unnecessary. Again, not a deal breaker, but you don't need it, Saucony. You don't need it. You have the perfect shoe. Just take that thing off. Going over the 4 main categories that I picked for the shoes, starting from the bottom up. The ride, it's more responsive than the Kinvara 8s, but still comfortable enough to make it through a marathon. For me, a perfect marathon race shoe. Again, if you're lighter on your feet, you can pick a lighter shoe. If you're a little heavier on your feet, maybe this is not enough to make it through a marathon. For me, this is perfect marathon racing shoe. It is, however, a bit stiffer than I would like. It's still a very flexible shoe, as you can see. Just pushing with one finger, very easy to flex. But in this area right here where you see this chunky foam, it's kind of a trade-off. Like there's a lot of cushioning for when you're getting a little sloppy on your form, hitting your heel a little bit too much. It can save you there. At the same time, it can't do that and be flexible. That would be my drawback. Running the longer, slower distances is not this shoe's forte, but it can absolutely get you through that. This forte is faster distances, and when you're running faster, you're landing right up here, you don't feel that stiffness at all. So the ride, I would give it a 4 out of 5. Going to the durability, it is, I mean, for the weight of the shoe, the durability is great. This one is made at 100 miles. No major signs of wear. I'm not busting through the shoe. The upper is very, very flexible, and I don't see myself ripping through this like I have in other shoes. Durability, I would give, just because it is so light and it cannot be your overall daily training shoe, I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5. But again, for the weight, the durability is great. The fit is everything about the Kinvaras. You put them on and sometimes you forget that you're wearing them. It's like you're wearing a sock almost. I have absolutely no complaints about the fit. I do have one actually, this Pro Lock. What is that? But besides that, fit is just right on it. 5 out of 5 for the fit. Perfect. The last one is the looks. The looks are a part of the shoe, and it makes me cringe to say this because I try so hard to not think about the looks of the shoes, and it has resulted in me getting some weird shoes at times. I try to take into account only categories that I said earlier: the ride, the durability, the fit. And if they do well in those 3 categories, I try not to worry about the looks. But like I said, I mean, sometimes I end up with shoes like these, which are really cool. I love ugly shoes, I don't know why. But it makes it hard for these to become my walking shoes later on. Looks, they are a thing. They are a thing. For the Saucony, on the looks, I mean, I like this shoe. And pretty basic. I like the black and the speckles, and there's some gold in it, and I'm not really sure what else to say because I don't really get into this. But the looks are very, really nice and good. 4 out of 5. So that gives these Saucony Kinvaras a grand total 16 out of 20. Bottom line is, would I recommend this to a friend? If that friend was a runner and had a preference for neutral shoes and liked to go fast, I would say buy these shoes. Their simplicity is their strength, so absolutely I would recommend this to a friend. And that's about it for these Sauconys, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the review. Leave a like, a comment on what you thought. Thank you guys for watching. Regular vlogs back on tomorrow. That's it. The first inaugural shoe review has been completed.